We pause for a second or two. This is episode 66, Routines, Part 2. Last time, in part 1 of a specific skill, routines, we spoke about how complex things in our life and the complexities of ourselves as well, how these make us confused. Every person is complex. Relationships between people are complex. Society is complex. When something is complex, we cannot make it any smaller than what it is. We cannot oversimplify things. When something is complex, when someone is complex, we have to sort of take a step, think a little, take another step. How does this feel? Take another step. This is how we live together with something complex. And last time we spoke about how living with complex things and people make us confused. This confusion we cannot avoid. We must live with some degree of confusion. It's just part of living. And last time we also spoke about that we should not put down the confusion in itself, because we need confusion to evolve as people. But rather, we should put down our lack of structure, our lack of structure for our confusion. And one of the best ways to achieve a structure for our confusion is to develop routines, specific skill routines. In today's episode, part 2 of routines, we will speak about the value for us, the value of having a set of routines, and more specifically, the value of having a set of routines in these changing times. These times that we live in right now, they are very changing. They go from here to there. They make us feel hope in 1 minute, despair in the next. Disorientation in one moment, and nostalgia in the next. These times are really pushing us and pulling in our psyches in different directions. When we have a set of routines in our life, these become like a scaffolding or like a framework or like a structure for us. When we have a set of routines, society can go in different directions from one day to the next, and it doesn't necessarily throw us off balance. To have a set of routines is to be autonomous, or at least to be as autonomous as the times will allow. We must always try to maximize our autonomy. It is very important. I will never have your perspective on things. Only you can have your perspective on things. And if I want your assistance, then I need your perspective. Not my own, but yours. And for you to have your perspective, for you to keep having your perspective, you need a set of routines. You need a set of routines so that you may keep your autonomy as much as possible. These times that we live in are filled with conflict. And conflicted times usually infringe on people's autonomy. It is very difficult to maintain our autonomy. And that is why we speak about it. Because it is difficult and important. If we want to maintain our autonomy, we need to protect our confusion. And autonomy operates in a somewhat paradoxical manner. The truly autonomous people are always very confused. They can hold multiple truths at the same time. If you want autonomy, you also need confusion. But you also need a structure for your confusion. If you want autonomy, you need confusion. But if you have no structure for your confusion, then you will just break. So this is sort of the equation we need to fit together. If we want to guard our autonomy, then we need to be able to be confused, to hold multiple truths at the same time, to grow as people, to change our mind, to change it again, depending on the circumstances. But in order to sort of harvest the good things out of confusion, we need a very clear structure for it. And this is where our specific skills comes in. If we create a structure for our routines, then confusion will become something good, something we can utilize. Now we will take a moment to acknowledge something about our times right now. In these times, as we just stated, public opinion and the sort of feel to it all changes very frequently. Like we just said, one day we feel hope, the next despair. One day we feel disoriented, and the next we feel nostalgia. We are thrown here and there. And every sort of turn of the tide is equally sure of itself that this statement right now, this sort of truth right now, is the only truth. No other truths can exist. And this is where very wearing. This is very challenging to keep our heads screwed on right. And we must be confused in these times. They are confusing times. But then we have routines. We have a structure for our confusion. We have routines for our mornings. We have routines for how we go to bed, our evenings. We have routines for physical exercise. We have routines for eating. We have routines for sort of breathing space. We have routines for rest. And in between these routines, we are fed with all kinds of different messages. All of these messages are very strong. They are very intense. The choosing of words are often extreme. The news are black and white, and they are ever changing. In between our autonomous routines, we sort of go with the flow, or, we recognize, okay, we identify, okay, in what direction does the grain go today? Okay, in this direction. What do I want to do with that? Do I want to go along with the grain, or do I want to go against it? And then we do our routines as usual. We are confused, yes, but we have a structure for our confusion. And then there's another day, and we identify, where does the grain go today? In this direction, new direction, okay. What's that about? Okay. We decide if we want to go along with the grain or against the grain, and how we want to do it. And then we do our routines again. We rest, we exercise, we eat, sleep, we go to bed, we get up. We are confused, yes, but we have a structure for our confusion. It's okay to be confused. It's even good to be confused. Confusion is never the enemy. The lack of structure for our confusion can be a liability. And these times that are so frequently changing, they will probably keep being like this for some time. And it is a marathon. It is very tiring. And we keep our routines. It is very important that we guard our autonomy as much as possible. It's best for everyone, even when not everyone thinks so. We keep our autonomy, so we must also keep our confusion. And to keep our confusion without breaking, we need a structure for our confusion. So we study the specific skills for our confused situation. They are called internet, letters, and routines. That's it for today. Thank you.